welcome to the Jevil tier list. Today we're going to be going over all the tiers of the classes in the Jevil map for Team Fortress 2. And before we start, I just want to say I was inspired to do this by a video I saw a couple weeks ago called TF2 Medieval Mode tiers, so I thought I would do it with the Jevil boss map that Alex Turtle made because that would be pretty fun to make. So me and my friends, we've just been testing weapons, like how things work, if they will work and stuff, how good stuff works, you know, all that stuff. But this is just a very ambitious project that we've been working on for a while, and we're finally ready to bring it out. So yeah, hope you guys enjoy. Starting off with the Spy at the F tier. Sorry, Spy, you just can't cut it. Jevil is a really crazy boss fight. He's like all the way in the air, so it's not possible to get a backstab on him unless you're like jumping, and I'm not even sure you can get backstabs on him anyways. Your knife only does 40 damage compared to the 65 melee damage of every other class except Scout, so there's not really a point in using your knife. So I just stick with the stock knife. The revolver, however, can do tons of damage up close, like 50, 65 damage up close. So if you want to get up close, you can do tons of damage to Jevil, and with the Crits Krieg, that thing can be devastating against him. Now for the Cloak, you should use the Dead Ringer, because if you get hit by something, you can move super fast and you're resistant to the attack. So yeah. Also, the stock revolver can do tons of damage up close, 65 damage per shot almost. That's really crazy, even though it shoots super fast, so you're constantly doing 65 damage per shot. So, it's really good if you're up close, but the farther you get away, the less damage it does. So use the stock revolver. But it just doesn't catch up with the damage capability of the other classes, so that's why I put Spy on the F tier. Sorry, Spy. Now we are moving on to the E tier. I put the Engineer here, and I put him above the Spy because he still has more damage capability. He can use a shotgun, and when that fails, you can use the pistol for long range damage, and it still will do a lot of damage. With a bottomless clip and a bottomless ammo reserve, you can do tons of damage in seconds. So with that in mind, what about the Engineer's buildings? Will they be good? Well, the thing is, no. There's so much action going on in the arena that having a building that starts off with like 0 health and then goes up really slowly, well, it moves faster if you hit it, but still, it moves up slowly and gets more health the more you build it. So when buildings are like just 20 health and sitting there, it can get destroyed by any of Jevil's attacks instantly. And buildings can't move on their own, so you have to pick them up. It would be a hassle to do that, so that's why I put Engineer here. His buildings are basically useless. The Engineer's sentry cannot be placed unless the admin turns on the place sentry function that allows you to place the sentries in the arena. Even then, it can only do so much damage before it eventually gets destroyed by Jevil's attacks. Same with the dispenser and the teleporters. Why would you even need a teleporter? The arena is so small. Nobody needs to teleport around. Now let's talk weapon choices. I'm only going to be talking about weapons that actually matter, so no Frontier Justice, as your sentry can't get revenge crits for killing Jevil. Anyways, if they could, that would be at the end of the round, so it would basically be a direct downgrade to the shotgun. So I'd recommend using the Widowmaker. The Thompson could also work, as it might be a direct upgrade. 20% less damage to buildings doesn't matter in this fight. So the Thompson is a direct upgrade. So with the Widowmaker, you do get your medal back when you shoot Jevil with it. Just make sure not to miss any shots, and if you don't have to reload, so you can do tons of damage. You can basically make the Engineer from useless to somewhat useful. There is no point in not using the Gunslinger, as it just gives you extra health. Unless there are sentries enabled, you might want to use the stock wrench if you want level 3 sentries, but the Gunslinger just gives you 25 extra health. And the third successful hit is always a critical hit, so if people standing still in the middle of the arena and you want to dish out some melee damage, you can do that pretty quickly. There is no point in using the Wrangler unless you are capable of having your sentries stay up and doing more damage and having them more defended by attacks, incoming attacks like that. But if the admin has disabled sentries, there is no point in using it. The short circuit cannot disable or destroy rockets that Jevil shoots at you, so don't use it. With the Widowmaker, you can do tons of damage, and with the Crits Krieg, you can do even more, but there are still classes that can do way better than the Engineer. Sorry, buddy, but you have been placed on the E tier. On the D tier, we have Sniper. I put Sniper above the other classes because he still can do tons of damage with the right weapon choices. So for the primary, you would want to use something like the Huntsman. The stock sniper rifle just can't cut it. Having to zoom in and like not seeing your surroundings, it's not worth the 450 damage headshot. And I'm pretty sure Jevil can't even be headshot anyways, so use the Huntsman. It can do tons of damage. Now, for the secondary, you should use the Cleaner's Carbine. The Cleaner's Carbine can build up a crikey meter by the amount of damage you do with it, and it's really easy to hit Jevil, so you can fill up that meter really quickly. And for the melee, you should use the Bushwalker, so when Jevil gets close to the ground and you can hit him with your melee, you can activate the crikey meter and do tons of damage with it, because it crits whenever it would normally mini crit. And the Bushwalker has a 20% fire vulnerability, I'm pretty sure, but that doesn't even matter because I don't even think Jevil's attacks are fire. Like, they're like one attack that lights you on fire and that's about it. Plus no random crits, but when you can force crits, who cares? The Huntsman, the Cleaner's Carbine, and the Bushwalker is a great damaging output. In the C tier, we have the Pyro. The Pyro can do tons of damage, but he has to get really close to Jevil to actually do it with his flamethrower's short range. And that's pretty dangerous, because Jevil has a bunch of attacks where he shoots things around him and stuff. So getting up close to him is really dangerous, and you should only do it in dire situations. So for the primary, I'd use the Phlogistonator. It takes a long time to build the oomph, but you can even build the oomph before the round even starts. You can build it while he's just standing there. That's awesome. So you can start off with like half of it. But it takes a longer time to actually build the oomph due to the amount of damage you can do to Jevil. But you can still do hundreds and hundreds of damage to him in seconds with the Phlogistonator. And once you get the full oomph, you can unleash your wave of crits and do even more damage. 3 times damage? Are you kidding me? Wait, no air blast. But that doesn't matter. The only time you can get ignited in Jevil's fight is in the chaos mode where he shoots that beam that sets people on fire. Even then, you can just use the Man Melter as your secondary to extinguish people for crits. Yes, crits. With only no random critical hits as its downside, the Man Melter is great for the secondary for the Pyro. And for the melee, you should use the Back Scratcher. 90% less healing from medic sources, which isn't that bad because you still get health from the health packs, I'm pretty sure. So, there's a bunch of health packs around the map anyways, like they just spawn a lot, so you can pick them up without medics. So if there isn't a medic, you should use this. But if you feel like you need like extra speed, you should use the Power Jack. But in the dire situations, you need to pull out your melee weapon, use the Back Scratcher for extra damage capability. Still on the C tier, but slightly above Pyro, we have the Scout. The Scout is the fastest class in the game and is really good for Jevil. You can dodge attacks with ease due to the Scout's enormous fast speed. If that makes any sense. But I would recommend using the Shortstop because it reloads his entire clip at once and shoots out bullets so fast, and it does a lot of damage up close. For your secondary, use the Criticola. You do take a little bit more damage under effects with the Criticola, but that doesn't matter. If you die in Jevil, you respawn shortly anyways, so dying isn't really that big of a deal. All you need to do is dish out enough damage to get him down. I'd recommend the Atomizer because it's a direct upgrade really. 25% less damage versus players. Jevil is not a player. Jevil is an NPC, so that doesn't count. And the holster speed doesn't count either. And you can do triple jumps with the Atomizer out, so it's also a great mobility tool. So the Scout is really good in my book. We have reached the last 3 tiers, so let's go on to the B tier with the Demo Man, sitting there all alone. The Demo Man is really good. Having a grenade launcher that can do 100 damage per pill, and it has 4 pills per clip. That's crazy, 400 damage constantly. The reload doesn't take that long either, so you can constantly keep doing 500 damage. Now the Sticky Bomb Launcher, unless it's the Quickie Bomb Launcher, it's not really that helpful, so I would use a shield or something. And if you're going for melee, use a Scotsman Skull Cutter, because if Jevil's standing still, that's probably the only time you'll be using a melee weapon. And the Scotsman Skull Cutter is one of the only Demo Man weapons that have a direct damage bonus. So yeah, that's really cool. So you're not moving if you're really using melee against Jevil a lot, so the move speed is really not that bad. So just use the Scotsman Skull Cutter. On the A tier, we have the Soldier. He is one of the highest damage outputs in this entire game mode, okay? he does tons of damage with his rocket launcher, and the direct hit is basically a direct upgrade in this game mode. You don't, the blast radius doesn't even matter because you'll hit Jevil no matter where you aim at him, you'll hit him. Okay, so the blast radius reduced isn't even a problem, so it's basically a direct upgrade. So it's like the only rocket launcher that has this direct damage bonus, so that's why you should use it. It's really just a direct upgrade. And then you can do 140 damage at max. And if that's not good enough for you, you can have the buff banner, which gives you mini crits and all your teammates mini crits for a couple seconds, which can boost your damage up to 170 per rocket. And you can use other rocket launchers like the Cow Mangler. I didn't really test to see if the Cow Mangler's charge shot worked, but if you feel like running out ammo a lot by spamming your rockets at them, you can use the Cow Mangler. And if your team really needs a defense buff, you could use the Battalion's Backup, which gives you defense from all incoming attacks, which is really good. And the Conjurer, if you want to, if you want your teammates to be able to move around fast, you can make a Heavy more mobile and dodge attacks and stuff. So yeah, that's why the Soldier is on the A tier. This is it, the S tier. The highest ranked classes will go here. So, our first class for the S tier is the Medic, the amazing Medic man. So, for the Medic, I'd recommend using the Quick Fix or the Kritzkrieg. The stock Uber is also fine, and so is the Vaccinator. But the Vaccinator is less effective than the other Mediguns that you can use. It only provides defenses for Jevil's attacks and Jevil's attacks only, so incoming projectiles will not be able to be defended by the Vaccinator Uber charge. The Kritzkrieg is god tier in this game mode. You can do tons of damage with it because Jevil takes critical hit damage. So pairing yourself up with a soldier with a direct hit, you can put 300 plus damage per rocket with a 4 rocket clip, which is about 1,200 damage per clip. That's crazy damage. And the Quick Fix is really good for healing people really fast. And if your team doesn't need to do damage, they're doing fine with the damage, they just need to stay alive and more, time to stay alive, you should use the Quick Fix. And when all fails, use the stock Uber charge. I'm pretty sure you don't get extra Uber charge for hitting Jevil with your Uber saw. I haven't really tested that, but if you do, you should use it. But you could use the normal bone saw. You could use some other weapons, maybe the Vita saw, so you can save some Uber, but then you'll have less health. There's not really that many good choices for melee medic. And the amputator can be really good, but you'll have to stand still to do your taunt. So yeah. And of course, the Crusader's crossbow. Being able to heal your teammates from across the arena is amazing, so you should definitely use it. And the farther you are away, the more heals you give to the person you hit with the crossbow. So that's really awesome. Medic is one of the best classes for this game mode and is crucial for a team to survive while fighting Jevil. Now here it is, the last class that we need to look over. The Heavy. The Heavy is one of the most effective classes in this Jevil boss battle. Your team will need one for sure, so make sure to have a Heavy on your team. The amount of damage the Heavy can put out in Jevil is insane. Hundreds of damage a second. Thousands of damage a second even. And with a Kritzkrieg, you can do even more. 3 times damage that you would normally do. So it's like 3,000 damage a second. So it's crazy how much damage a Heavy can do up close. But the Heavy is the slowest class in the game and not really that mobile. So have fun dodging attacks, I guess, if you're going to play Heavy. That's all I can say. I would recommend not using the Tomislav. Accuracy and Silent Killer doesn't matter because Jevil is not a player, it's an NPC, and the accuracy doesn't matter because your bullets will still hit Jevil anyways, so it's just a nuisance to have to deal with 20% slower firing speeds. Melee doesn't really matter as Heavy, and using the Sandwich is really risky, so I would recommend using the Sandwich, but only use it if you're pretty sure you won't get hit by anything coming your way, because you'll have to stand still while doing the taunt while eating. So you gotta make sure that you won't be hit by any incoming projectiles or anything like that while you're eating the sandwich, but it heals all of your health instantly. And there we go, my opinions on the most effective and least effective classes in the Jevil boss battle in Team Fortress 2. I really hope you enjoyed, and make sure that you comment down below what you thought of this video, and if you have any disputes with me, or you think a certain class is better than this class, feel free to put it in the comments, but please don't get angry at me. This is just my personal opinion, and I wanted to make this video because I thought it was just a fun little idea me and my friends could put it together for a video. But yeah, really hope you enjoyed, And go down in the comments, tell me if you think any thing should be changed on the tiers and why you think it should be, or what strategies you guys have for the Jevil boss battle, and more. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll see you in the next one, and bye-bye.